Hey, welcome to Arts and Crafts with Ricky Bobby. Here on Rusted Up Garage, we're going to do Arts and Crafts Day. Don't that sound like fun? Hey, again, thank you for joining us and watching another episode of Rusted Up Garage. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, just do all the stuff that you're supposed to do to help us grow the channel. Thanks a lot. What we're doing today, as you saw in the previous little clip, is Arts and Crafts Day. We have, as you've seen, painted everything under the car and undercoated that. But what we need to do is we need to get the firewall ready for paint, because we're going to paint the firewall, and that needs to happen before we put the frame in. Now, originally the brakes were up under here. It didn't actually have a master up here because back in the old days, that's what they did. Okay, they just put a little brake thing back there and just hoped you stopped. It got converted, and this is the plate that was actually on it for the conversion. And it got rid of the air box that was here, and it was about this big originally. And it puts this plate on and screws it on right here. And this allows us to put a master cylinder right here. Master, big, booster and a master cylinder, and get normal brakes. Now, what's this, you say? I'm gonna tell you, just wait. The cowl, okay, back in the old days, what it actually did was it actually let air in. That's what they did. They let the air in. And it came whooshing down this, like whoosh, like this. And then it went into a box like this, whoosh, and then went into the car like this, whoosh. Okay, it was all part of a big thing. Well, when that was removed now there's a hole, so when it rains, it just rains on your car inside. And it can run in. So they came up with this plate. Plus they also needed it for strength, for basically the brake booster. So that is actually a drain. So when it rains now, it comes in and it drains and it runs off. And it just has like a little hose, and we're gonna put a new hose on there. So that bolts on there. So this is factory. Now, let's move to the arts and crafts part. This side, same thing, okay? Basically, you had that big old heater box and air box and all that stuff. Wind could just in here and just whoosh, and that was when you pulled the vent on, okay? But we obviously deleted on all that to put vintage air in this car and change how the heat and everything worked. So now I'm stuck with a big hole here and a big hole here, and I was gonna do some little patches. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of replicate what's done on this side. So basically, once that loud truck goes by, we're going to take and build a pattern out of our pattern paper. And it's gonna be pretty much like this. And it's gonna go back over top of this. So it's kind of the same look. The only thing I gotta do though is I gotta really extend on her over here. And then I gotta drill the 4 holes that go in right there. And then again, I'm gonna put a drain right on this valley. It's just gonna drain the water out. So what we gotta do is we gotta make a template that looks like this, and we've got to mimic the holes. Now, the original kit comes with this kit, this little plate. So you're supposed to just screw that to the firewall hole, is what you're supposed to do with some grommets. So basically you just gotta, that goes over this, like this, and then you just screw it there. But you see we're missing some material. It's all missing. So, what I'm gonna do is I am going to mimic this set of holes in this pattern piece. So, I'm just gonna start out with drawing on the paper. I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna leave some extra. I'm gonna come over here and draw what I want. I'm gonna cut a big round hole here. Then I'm gonna slide this over it, and I'm gonna draw out this picture right here. I know, my phone's just going crazy around here. But I'm gonna draw this, and then I can bring this over and bring it to our template, and I can set it on that, and I can cut the whole thing out and get the holes right, and then we're gonna have to mark for these holes here, And then I'll take some seam sealer and just squish it all on right here and put it on. Now the other thing too is I gotta add is, so you got these two and there's actually two here. That actually holds the air conditioning on. So once I get the pattern here figured out, I'll actually unbolt the air conditioner, drop that out, hopefully for the last time, and we'll get this panel all made. And I got some really nice cap screws that'll actually hold this, that'll go through. So that's what we're building. Told you, Arts and Crafts. So we basically have this big old sheet of stainless here. Why are we using stainless? That's what I got, okay? That's what I got. And if you price steel nowadays, I mean, it's expensive. And I want it nice and thick. I want it, you know, like this. Something nice. So we're gonna make this panel, get it all cleaned up with all the holes, and I can paint this, paint the panel, paint that, and then once it's painted, we can slide the frame back under it, which is really the ultimate goal here. So what we're gonna do is I'm probably gonna have Zach just set you up on a tripod, and you kind of see me lay out my paper, and we'll start drawing stuff. I'll talk every now and then, and we'll just, you know, build snowflakes and patches for firewalls. So, sound good? Okay, so basically, like I said, put this on the paper, and whether this is audio makes it or not, I can't tell you that. And we know we want extra in here. So, we'll leave Arts and Crafts. Basic pattern. So basically, I'm just finding about where I want the edges, so I can lay the pattern in here. Like so. Okay. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but nothing see me. Like,
yep.
So I know that my round's here, right? So I mark that so I can go draw a nicer picture of that. I know where my edge is and I know where the last hole is I need to cover. And the other thing too is I made this big hole here and I do need to cover this. So I'm gonna get that plastic plate over there. Plastic plate over there. This is the actual plate for this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this over this and I'm gonna center this up on these holes just like this, right? And I'm going to draw that hole. I'm going to draw this hole. And then I'm going to lightly draw this picture right here. Now, I can lay this on my piece in that same spot. When I lay this on to draw my piece out, I'll lay it on that, and then I can mark out these 4 holes, and I know that they're going to be right. Pretty nifty, huh? So I got my hole marked up here. We do know we got to add a little bit down here, and then we've also got to find holes. Okay, so I think I've marked everything that we need. And the biggest thing is the reason why I wanted to go with such a thicker material is because unlike this side that has a lot of bolt holes going around, if you look, they're very scattered. So I got one here and here, and then way down here, and then I jump to here, and then I got one here, and I got one here and here. I don't really have nothing around here. So I'm probably going to having to drill after I install this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the seam seal will hold it. Because there's nothing here, because obviously that was not part of the original. If you guys remember, I cut this with a hole saw stuff. So, but I got all the holes. So now the biggest thing is I just gotta go transfer this over to that and come up with our design for all this, and then go put it on the old Cut-O-Matic outside. Cut her up. So like I said, I used the plate right here, and I followed my lines, my pattern here, and basically I know that's right where it's going to be, so I just laid it right here on this pattern, and that gives me my 4 holes for my air conditioning. And there's our panel, right there. And the question is, do I drill it first? Probably not. So I got a nice drill press so I can drill it with. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut it, and then if I cut it, give her a little cleaning, I guess. So a little dirty right there. That's all right. But give her some cutting, and then we'll remark, and then I'll bring it out on the drill press and give her the old like that. And then I got to drop the air conditioning out, fit it, make sure it all fits, and clean it up. Then do some taping and do some painting. That's all there is to it. So what we got here, boys and girls, is a plasma cutter. And it's hissing at me. There. Now it's not hissing at me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Power Max 30, and we're going to take and slice some holes right in this. Sound like a plan? Now I just got to grind up the edges and do some drilling. So, into the shop. But there, I mean, it's nice and clean. I'm going to go around it with a finer grit one now. What's this right here? This one's 80. I might even get the 120. So, but we use these right here. Combat abrasives. Zach will put the thing in the link down below. But these are really good wheels. We've been using them for a while. It's kind of cool. They are, it's a veteran-owned company who sells these online, and they hold up well. So we've been really happy. So I'd support on them. And they don't even give me anything to say that. That's free combat abrasives. I'm gonna get the finer one, throw it on here, and just clean that up. There she is. There's our panel. Now it's not going to completely fit because I still have the lines there, but there you guys go. That panel will go right there. When I'm finished with it, I'm going to have to cut something for here, but that's going to be out of something different. But yeah, that'll look good, nice and clean. So I'm going to mark it out. We're going to drill some holes here next, and then they'll be ready for primer, and then we can get some paint. Remember yesterday we were drilling, and it may have been on high speed in this, but we're drilling out the 4 holes for the air conditioning stuff. So we got the air conditioning and the heat all in here, so it's all one panel. We did get it all drilled out. So basically what I'm after, I just want to try it and make sure that the lines all fit and that these holes kind of line up, and then really I got to take the air conditioner out so I can finish fitting it in, make sure all the bolts line up, and then I got to mark where the drain's going to be for the cowl, like I showed you guys earlier. So basically you got the air conditioning lines and the heater lines are right here, and eventually like these 2 bolts are going to come through here, and everything else bolts in, and then the drain will come off and like that, just run down. So the biggest thing is to just make sure all of this is going to fit. These lines do move around a little bit, so I have to kind of get over it. So that's a good plus. Those seem to all be decent. And then we got a couple there that line up. Yeah, so overall I think it's going to be fine, because once they move around, so that's good, Zach. Seems like I nailed those holes too, so that all looks good. So really at this point I need to remove on this so I can bolt it directly to this and make sure all these other holes line up before we prep and paint this. So, well, cool. That's basically how it's going to look, with one here and then the matching one over there, and they do pretty much match, except for this one has the extra for this. And then I'll paint this and then this separately. We do got to cut a little patch for this, and we just get a couple screws, screw that over. These holes are staying for that's oil lines and stuff, and then that'll be some electrical harnessing coming through. And then these holes, I'm just going to hit a little sealant in those. And then if I need them, they're still there, I can just run a screw through them, and they'll actually have some sealant on. So, no, that's going to look good. That's going to be way nicer than that big old, remember that big old air box that was here, Zach? You remember that back in the day? Yeah. It's going to be sweet. So that's cool, that fits. So I guess I'm gonna pull the air conditioner out, and we'll try this thing out in a bit. Welcome back to class. As you remember, we were doing arts and crafts earlier. Well, we were cutting out the panels, and honestly, it's been a week and a half since I started that. And then we went away because I do Christmas stuff too, so I had to build a bunch of controllers for that. I mean, none of that you guys care about, but I had to build controllers and bring them to a trade show. That's what's funding this project currently. So, but we're ready to finish up the firewall, because we really need to get the firewall painted, cleared, because then we need to get the frame under it. I mean, this thing's just been going on and on and on. So basically I'm gonna bring you with what we've done, get you up to speed, and let's get these panels mocked in there, and then we can address getting them hooked to the firewall for their final home before we paint them. So as you can see, I mean, you guys know everything was painted. We did clean up. I seam sealed all the everything's right there. I just went ahead and just seam sealed it. We painted up these pockets. Now, these pockets up in here is actually the cowl right here, which is wide open. So what happens now is the rain comes off the windshield, goes through the cowl, and used to run into here. And then this was the air ducts that used to run the vent air in here, and it had a drain. And this side was the same. It had that giant air thing in it for venting because it didn't have air. So once we got rid of all that, this is still wide open, so I just don't want it running down. So I actually put drains on each corner. There's one here, and there's a drain here. And I'll show you on the plates. So we have rust sealed everything. That was the black primer. And then we went ahead and primed it. We painted up in there just to clean it up. We have sealed all of this back in now because all that was not sealed in, if you remember right. And again, we're not after showroom. We're after, you know, kind of what it would look like factory. That's why, you know, I'm not worried about, you know, some of this stuff right here and that, because that's how you'd see it. I just want to paint it up and clean it. The whole idea behind this whole project was to paint it up and clean it up as nasty as it was. So that's done. Now over here on the table, here's the original plate that went on the brake side that came with the car. And then here is the new panel that we made in arts and crafts class. So right here. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna bolt them on temporarily with like 2 bolts, and I'm gonna draw a little picture basically around them, take them back off so that I know where to put the seam sealer. We'll caulk the seam sealer in real good and then bolt the plates on, seam seal it up real good, and then we can actually prime the whole firewall and paint it. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna set you up on the thing, and we're going to prep for the panels. So this is what I'm going to use for the seam sealer. I really like this stuff. It's a 3M heavy bonded. It says so right there. I mean, it says it right there. And it has this cool little straw that just does like that and mixes them. So it's like auto mixer. It's like a cement mixer, but different. And so use a gun. And basically what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna put a nice big bead all the way around here like this, okay? And then I'm gonna do a really thick bead right here in the middle, because the middle is where I need it to really be sealed, because the water's gonna come from here, okay? There ain't gonna be much water outside, but right in here, we're gonna have some water coming down like a waterfall to right here, and I need it to go out through there. I don't need it coming in, I need it to go out through there. Okay, so here we go. Got the old cotton gun, got the old caulk. I feel that's probably way more than I needed. That's okay. Telling the people, you know, you can see where I kind of smeared some of the stuff here and there, and I'm not after, my goal here is not for it to look like a show car with a complete smoothed out you know, like where it's all bondoed smooth. I don't mind seeing the seam sealer marks in the paint, because the idea behind what I'm doing here was not to restore the car, it was to clean the car. So we're just after a clean look, you know, and there's a couple runs that were in here and stuff. I'm not worried about any of that, because I want it to look, I mean, factory. I want it to look more factory than anything. So I'm more after that than I am the smooth perfectness.
Because if you were going to do that, you could have just cut a new plate to cover the whole thing.
Yeah, if I wanted it perfect, I would have literally just cut the whole firewall out of this car and put a nice smooth panel in and just been done with it, maybe with some beads. But again, not what I'm after here. The whole goal behind this was to basically make it look as factory as we could. We're back to recording. I'm gonna bring you in, show you what we've done, and then we're gonna make another pattern, you know, arts and crafts. We got one more piece we're gonna make, and then once that piece is on, then we can prime and get paint. It's pretty much ready. So I'm just gonna bring you in and show you what we did up close, and then I'm gonna work on making a pattern, hopefully a little closer. Okay, so as you can see, we got the whole panel on. It is completely seam sealed up. I know it looks a little bit dirty, that's because where I wiped it, but that's no big deal. And then that'll be the vent, the drain vent that'll run off the side. The air conditioning lines are gonna come in right there. And then on the right, same thing, it's all sealed really good all the way around. Electrical, that'll be main electrical coming in and out of that hole. And then obviously that's where the brakes go. And another drain there, but everything's sealed up real good here. Window wiper motor's all sealed up. So the only thing I gotta make now is I gotta make a patch right here. So I'm just gonna make a little patch that's kind of curled. Maybe it'll follow this little line right here. And I'm just gonna patch this over. I have a feeling that I'm gonna end up re-drilling this for something else. So we're just gonna make a tape pattern is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna get some tape, lay some tape in here, and then we're gonna draw it out where we want it to be. And then we'll pull the tape off, and I'll cut it with a utility knife, lay it on a piece of metal. We'll cut it out, clean it up, and then literally a little bit of goop on here, and probably I might even just do 2 self-tappers right in here, because the self-tappers have the same head as these, so it'll appear the same. And once it's all painted, all one color, it'll be beautiful. So I'm gonna take some of this tape right here that Zach made me buy. This stuff is way stiffer and harder. It's called 233. Wherever it says in there. And the household stuff, as you can see, basically don't stick. It's made for doing houses. And so he's basically made me get the good stuff, which costs way more money. But, you know, basically that's gonna be it right there. Actually leave our tape. She'll look good. Just paint over the tape, right? Just done. No, I can't do that. So basically, that's the shape we're after. So now we're just going to take this and bring it over to a piece of metal, lay it on a piece of metal, and then we're just gonna cut this out and put some seam sealer behind it and a couple of screws, hold that on. And then if I need to drill a hole or something through it, I can just blast a hole through and use it as a grommet. But if nothing else, it'll at least seal up that. That's where that old heat exchanger went back in the day. There's our rough shape. Now we'll just bring her in from there. Okay, so now you can kind of see I've got the basic shape. I'm just gonna grab the new flapper wheel and I'm gonna clean this thing up and give it its finest shape, and this thing will be ready to go on. That's pretty much perfect. Some seam sealer around that sucker. I don't think it's gonna get much better than that. What do you think, Zach?
It's pretty nice.
There. Just like that, arts and crafts where Ricky and Bobby is over. At this point, we're gonna let that dry, about 15 minutes or so. And then we can prime on this, prime on all this, prime on all this. And then at that point, tomorrow we can some green on her, clear coat it, and we're done with this part of the project. Good morning, and welcome to another beautiful weekend here at Rusted Up Garage. It's been kind of hectic, but we're almost ready to get the car wrapped up so we can get the frame under it. All we lack now is basically painting the firewall. You know, we did all our arts and crafts, we got all them pieces installed, all primed, seam sealed. I mean, it's never gonna leak, and it's probably never gonna come off either, but you know, we're gonna go with it. So I got this paint here, it's a no-name, and we're gonna mix this up. This is actually a mint, a match to our mint color, because we want to paint the firewall mint. I forget what this paint is. The local painter up the street who's done a bunch of work for me, he picked this up for me. So we're gonna use that, and we're gonna use this specialty reducer. It says specialty right here. It's for special people like me, basically. And according to this, it says mix the following: 1 part primer, 1 part special reducer. We're not going to do that. It's going to be 2 to 1. So 2 parts of this to 1 part of this. Then we're going to just spray the firewall. Let it dry, and then we're going to shoot some clear on it. So hopefully it comes out good. We'll find out. But we're going to get this mixed up here anyway. Look at that, that's minty. That's what I'd say is mint.
Okay, fire through the mask. Paint mix and gun, check. Firewall, sanded, clean, check. All it's left to do is just shoot it on there.
So there we are. That's 3 coats of minty mint on the firewall. What a transformation. Now we just got to clear it and pull the plastic off everything, kind of, you know, lay our peepers on what the whole thing looks like. So pretty excited about that. But I'm gonna fire the heat off and let her get warm in here and let it dry for, I don't know, an hour or so, and then we're gonna hit it with clear. So we'll be back when we get clear. Like zoomed on my face. Okay, we are final steps. It's clear time. So I'm trying this product out because we've used all the rest of the KBS stuff, and this is their clear diamond finish. It's permanent, ultra high performance clear coat. So it's forever, it says so, basically right there. It's rock hard, non-yellowing, non-hardener needed, direct to metal formula, or to clear. Or to base. So basically it's just a clear product that they have. It is crystal clear. Their spray bomb stuff works good for clear. So we're mixing this up at 15% with the thinner. And you know, it's pretty thin. It's still a little thick. Maybe it's not too bad. So we're gonna try it and see what it does on this. In the worst case, it just don't work, right? But it should. I mean, it says it's permanent and it's high performance, and that's basically us. We're permanent and high performance, so we're gonna go with it. Okay, I think that's it. I put on two pretty good coats on that. I don't think it's gonna need a third. We're gonna look at it. We're gonna give it about an hour and see. But that stuff lays pretty thick. So we're gonna put our peepers on it here in about an hour. But I think we're good. I think we're gonna let it sit, dry, and then pull some plastic. And then probably tomorrow, think about putting a frame underneath this thing. So there we are. I'm a mess now. I'm slightly sticky. I'm clear coat sticky. Wow, they're back. Basically just prepping the battery box and the brake booster for paint. We want to make them green, so they're not green. So I've scuffed them. Now I'm just gonna shoot them with some of this, it's all I got left on the shelf, the Eastwood High Build Primer. Not that I need it, but we're just gonna shoot it with that anyway. Mainly because that's all I got. Okay, we got Zach doing some painting now. He wanted to try out his spray gun, so I figured I'd let him just go ahead and spray off this stuff. Break the brake booster for contrast. Okay, Zach. So how was your new gun?
Spray's nice.
It sprays nice? You're happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I let Zach totally spray the green so he could try out his new guns that he bought, and now he has to clean his own gun. See, that's how it works. But yeah, so the brake booster, it's gonna look snazzy in there. And then the battery box, yeah, I mean, that'll look way better in the back than that aluminum thing. So, way nicer. We'll get that cleared up with the firewall here, and be done with these parts. I mean, there's still a lot of parts to paint, but it's just a lot of painting to do. Lots and lots of painting, man, just parts. But that's what you gotta do if you want it to be clean. We're all about clean. So finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks, it seems like years of work, we finally get to remove the plastic. It's been on this car for months, years, days. But firewall's finally done. Thank you, Jesus. It looks pretty freaking good. Is it perfect? No. No, it's not perfect. Am I perfect? No. Am I worried about it? Absolutely not. It's accomplishing what I want. And I mean, we don't want to make it look too good. It has to blend with the rest of the car, which, remember, when we started, was non-molested. You can barely tell it's molested now, but anyway, the firewall's done, as you can see. It came out phenomenal. And once we put all the stuff on it, it's gonna really just, you know, bring it out. So at this point, I'm gonna just pull the plastic. Zach probably put it on a tripod. I'm gonna pull all the plastic, get it all cleaned up. And then we're gonna jack it up, pull the tarp off the floor finally, pull the stuff off, and this thing will be almost ready to put the frame back under. I gotta do a little work to the steering box. You can see that thing's leaking from here. You can tell basically by the way it is that it's leaking. So I'd like to try to dress that before I put it on the frame. Plus I gotta paint it still. So, but I'm extremely happy with how all this came out. I mean, it blended, it looks great. It's ready for air conditioning. I mean, it can't get much better. We can finally start assembly. overall, real happy with how all this section turned out. Next video will be stuffing the frame back up underneath the car, getting that bolted back up, and probably starting on the fuel tank. I think that's next. I gotta get the fuel tank cut up and get the fuel pump put in it, which obviously this thing was never designed for, and get the fuel tank and fuel pump back up in the car, and then we can start putting the new leaf springs, the rear end, and then start building it out. We got tons of wiring. There's tons of stuff to do. But now we're on the let's start putting stuff back together stage, which is super exciting. So we'll bring you let's reassemble now instead of let's just scrape and clean, and I am a nasty mess. So, and if you haven't seen the little announcement video yet, we did make shirts up for the car. So as you can see, it is Rusted Up Garage. It has the rocket. And then on the back, it has the 55 with the rocket. So these shirts are going to be available on our website, rustedupgarage.com soon, or they may even be by the time you see this video. It's hard saying. It's hard saying. But we have a limited supply. We'd like to order some more, but we don't want to order too many. So if you're interested in a shirt, go hit our website up and order up a shirt. Thank you for liking. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe, hit the comments. Tell us what you want to see. And until next time, peace out.